So who else loves to see when the stock market pulls back? What's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBit Solutions. A quick little update for you guys. I feel like a lot of people have been preparing for this little pullback, right? It's not a crash, but today the market pulled back a little bit more than it has in quite some time. This is the overall NASDAQ index, and you guys can see that from 14,800, it pulled on back, hitting lows pretty much the previous resistance level that we had before here and here, as you guys can see, acted as a new support level. And we actually talked about this in the Learn Plan Profit live trading session today. And the really cool thing about this is a lot of you guys know that I was in SQQQ, which is a short on the overall NASDAQ market, meaning that when the NASDAQ market goes down, SQQQ goes up. I'm never here to try to gloat with the idea of like, oh man, look how much money I made. At the end of the day, like in comparison to my other positions, I didn't make that much. I made 7.4% on an ETF that goes up when the overall NASDAQ market pulls on back, right? I made $6,300, very happy with it. I had 10,000 shares. And guess what? Guess what I did today? I like to play it safe. I know that the overall NASDAQ market is more bullish than it is bearish. So I decided that with this pullback, the whole reason that I even went into SQQQ in the first place was because I thought there weren't any good deals. And I think a lot of you guys can agree with me. I was just tired of everything being super overpriced. And I wanted to make sure that I had money in the reserves so I can buy the dip on something, but as well as make money as the market kind of pulls back a little bit. And that's essentially what we did. I sold the majority of my positions. I only have 1,500 shares, so 1,500 shares left, just in case the market does bleed a little bit more. I can kind of reap the benefit in that. But what did I begin to do today? I began to buy and go long on a lot of different blue chip stocks. I just wanted to wait for the overall market to close. I'm not here to encourage you to buy any of these, right? At the end of the day, all we ever want to encourage you to do is to put yourself in a position that your future self will thank you for, right? And one of the things that I decided to do is we saw that the airline industry was an industry that was affected, some more than others, right? And banking has been affected. If you guys look at this on the 4-hour time frame, it's just crazy to see how much they have pulled on back. So I took a very, very light position on American Airlines. I bought a total of 500 shares, which amounts to about a little under $10,000. I normally, as you guys can see with my SQQQ position, when I have money invested in something fully invested, it's about $100,000. So the idea is I'm about 10% invested in a position. Why? Well, it's still very bearish. It's still selling off, and it still can continue to sell off. So for me to buy and hope that it recovers right away is very naive, right? So if it and when it does begin to indicate signs of an uptrend, I can easily begin to buy more. I just want to have some skin in the game at a price point that I view to be a decent deal. And you guys can agree to disagree, right? You guys can let me know in the comment section. But from where American Airlines is right now to previous highs, previous resistance levels at $26, that's about 36%. And that's just with this, right? LUV, which is Southwest Airlines, also very oversold. Another very popular one is Save, which is, again, very oversold. This is Spirit Airlines, right? One of the budget airlines. Other very popular industry is the cruise line industry and how much they've dropped. My apologies. CCL, which is Carnival Cruise Line. You guys can see that there was a significant drop on this one. And from where we're at as of right now to previous highs, that's about 60%. Doesn't this almost kind of bring you back to kind of like COVID times, right? Where everything kind of sold off. There's a lot of big margins. It doesn't mean that they have to recover anytime soon. That's not what we're here to say. These things can continue to bleed, which is why you have to be very, very careful with how much it is that you decide to buy of it, if anything, right? The very conservative way to approach this is to still wait for confirmation of a reversal. Wait for the break above the EMA line on the 4-hour time frame. Wait for indication for that price action to follow. A little bit of a riskier way is to take a light position, which is what I decided to do. Again, there's so many different ways on how to approach the market. Just make sure that you're aware of that. Carnival Cruise Lines still selling off, 60% potential, and not a lot of people are talking about this. A lot of people are still continuing, and rightfully so, right, talking about AMC, all these different hype stocks, all power to you, right? But let's talk about these, companies that are pretty big companies in our industry today, right? That are pretty cheap based off of previous trading prices. And I wanted to keep things very simple. I wanted to put some money in areas where I found them to be good deals. So I bought a little bit of American Airlines today. I bought a little bit of Carnival Cruise Line today, light enough for me to have some skin in the game, but making sure that it's not so much that if it does continue to sell off, that I don't become an emotional mess. And that's the thing. It's whatever you decide to buy the dip on. If they're blue chip stocks, if they're quality companies, right? These are not hype stocks, but these are companies that, do very well in their sector. And if they do begin to recover, it could be a couple weeks from now. It could even be a couple months from now. I have such a light position in there that it will not affect me. I can tolerate this kind of movement, right? So just make sure that whatever you decide to do, you do it with a position size that you can manage. And I think that's the very difficult thing. You guys can speak from your experience, but I think that people become irrational when they have too much money invested. They become an emotional mess and they become irrational. Friendly reminder, no one freaks out about the stock market crashing or about the stock market pulling back when you're prepared. And what we mean by that is if you have money on the sideline and you're waiting for the market to crash, you're not freaking out. You're viewing this as a garage sale, right? You're ready. You're ready to buy the dip. Just like we've been ready. We've been talking about the market being overbought. It pulled back a little bit. It presented a couple deals. So guess what? Now I'm beginning to load up, and I'd be happy to ride the reversal. We're the ones that get to reap the benefit of this recovery. But it's up to you guys, right? We can always try to buy at the highs, or we can stay well balanced and understand when it makes sense to buy the dip. So wanted to talk about my SQQQ position and of course update you guys that I decided to lock in my profits. And then when it comes down to the other stocks that I feel like not a lot of people are talking about and the other industries that are pulling back a little bit more than others, and why I decided to buy the dip and kind of what my plan is with that, right? So we're still waiting for confirmation, and until then, I won't be adding more to those position sizes. So keep it light, keep it tight. You guys know how we like to do it here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I hope that we earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, and I will see you tomorrow for our live trading session. And if you would like to join us, that's that second link down below. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.